Keine second row. Yeah. There will be some more jokes in my slides as well. Now, when I first came into the room, I thought, perfect. You already tuned into stack-based languages. We gone not far away from here because we will talk a little bit about Rebol, but not only about the language, because I like to program in Perl, and it's mainly about Perl, but what we can steal from what that we can think for out of the box for a bit and improve our own program, improve our modules. That I mean with what we can learn from Rebol. Of course, this will not be a Rebol course. There's not enough time. It's a fair enough complex language. But like I said, we will do some philosophy. But after all, we are here for relaxation and not for hardcore. Yes. You know that philosopher?
He's kind of shame for us.
Yes, one further slide will show this too. But we are all familiar with his formal sayings, and that pretty much a little bit applies also to Perl, except this part I shadowed a bit because in Rebol we have in many ways only one way to do it. But they try also hard to keep things simple, very simple, you will be surprised, and also the hard stuff possible. That's mingling with binary data, any kind is always possible. And of course, the context sensitivity, which are on the big flag banners held around in Perl, are also important in Rebol, as you will see. And that's not only me making this up, also some independent journalists came up with this quote, and there are also other discouraged Perl programmers who went over to Rebol because really the philosophy is in some parts similar, but only in some. Like I said, then I have real philosopher from times, which I like really, but it will now be mainly about this philosopher because Sassenra is really the backbone of Rebol. And I think if you want to understand Rebol, we have first know a little bit about him, because he comes from the heavy industry, had his own companies after that, and of course just a company dedicated to Rebol technology. One thing I found interesting about him, that actually one of his co-students was the later founder of Sun, and that he had pretty nice connections to some people who really were more in the core of industry. And as you see already here, it's not an academic language, but a real language to get things done in the real world. So in this sense, it's a little bit opposite of that we already have. So you see it also in the syntax. That it's not always be optimized, therefore be really short and make few keystrokes and then magically some function get, but really have real code and make exactly what you can read, even if you not know much Rebol. He was on many projects, maybe best known on the Amiga operating system, also was involved in some other programming languages. As I said, Forth is your large influence. And also this is a large influence. It was one of the first, if not the first television set-top box, a small device. And that's also heavy influence of Rebol, because it's a small box, but it has a very capable operating system in it, and it's pretty much a Rebol. It's a small system, but it is pretty mild. That's how it looks. If you download your Rebol distribution, there's some file browsers. It's like a one all-in-one. If you click on it, the apps will start. It's a little bit like iOS in its good apps, but there are newer versions that look a little bit more modern, but I don't think it looks like that. Also, it's not. I think it looks better than TK, which isn't quite. Yeah, of course, if you right-click on some, you get this menu, and you get the metadata. Come to that later, because there's a nice metadata handling. And you can also edit, if you go on here on the edit button. But this editor really sucks. As author of an editor on my own, this does almost nothing. There are not menus, there are buttons. That's all it can. So, it's alright. And of course, you have the shell where you can try things. Okay, let's get into Rebol. Like I said, it's heavily influenced from Forth, but also by other languages. And its main goal is really what he sometimes calls the lightweight and distributed. This means there's like Perl in the first days that talk overnight, doing things here and there. But also this programming is small, what they are doing with bits and you see it here, it is really small. The interpreter is 800 kilobyte, and not that we are mistaken. There's everything in it. There are the sockets. There's complete GUI handling, what you see. There is parser for many things. There are image handling. Things you have in Perl in heavy modules is all in it. And it's 1.8 megabyte. It's the core of all distribution with all things I've shown and much more. And I think that our sizes are unheard of in our realms. And also what makes it such attractive. Yeah. If you look at one page, you see some demos, and that actually are the size of these programs, and that are characters. Yes. Yeah. And if you don't believe me, we take as one example the remote editor. I mean with that, editing files on a remote machine. Yes. And it looks like this. That's our program. It opens this button, which of course gives us the default editor. We can edit it when we push save. It goes back to the server, and then all it does. And as you see, view the layout, and then what it does, it is not that cryptic. Even you could imagine what it does the first time you see it. Okay, BTN stands for button, alright, that's convention. If there are another square brackets, then you know it's something we would call code ref. We come later to the details, but I don't want to go through all these examples because that may be boring after the third, but as you see, you can do real world stuff. Yes, with Rebol. And the mission is programming in a small called fighting software complexity. And that's also where the name comes from, as Rebol. Not without a course, but with a course. Now, that was, I already had this talk at the German workshop when I started with the music of that lovely band. With I'm a rebel. I have a MP3, but I do really glad about that. No, sounds more functional, and of course it is functional. It's very functional, but not purely functional. From 1.0 to 2.0, they switched from pure functional to a more lazier definition of functional, and they brought speed up improvement from up to 20 times, which I think was worth the effort. But the real, like in any Rebol program, the most important word is always at first, which gives you the context, which is is your relative, which exactly defines. Defining the context makes everything else following relative to that. Yes, it's
sort of allegation.
Sometimes I compare it with Pickle, but there are some more similarities, as you will see. Like I said, the code word context sensitivity is that we use in code. There's also one example. For instance, take the word read. Read is a primitive in Rebol. If you take a URL, you will read this URL out and you get the HTML or whatever text you get from that. If you take a file, you get simply the content of the file, what we know from Slow. So you see, that makes the context. This he recognizes as a URL. This because this sigil tells him that this is a file. And depending on the context, read knows what to do. Yeah, that is meant by relative. And that's the main basic why Rebol name is relative. Rebol because it wants Rebol open world systems like Java. We could say, oh yes, we have that too, but it's maybe not as clean. And of course, in Perl we don't have everything in core, since the core basically is frozen since 5.0. Not exactly, but and it's not that much better. Okay, we have Slurp in Perl 6, but in other words, we are